Hey guys, today I bring you another episode of the Journey to National Master. Today I bring you round 3 of Torneio Interno do Beira-Mar. And before I start covering the game, I just want to tell you guys that you probably noticed something different. I'm not wearing my headphones, my voice kind of sounds better, I hope so. So for Christmas I got this new microphone here that you can see, and yeah, I'm pretty excited to see if you guys like this new mic. I think the quality should be better, although I still haven't bought the background noise cancellation thing to put around the mic, but I still think that it should be better than the last. So with that out of the way, let's jump straight into the video. So yeah, my opponent Carlos Loureiro. I don't know why I said that his surname like that, but whatever. He's 1690 rated player. He was the strongest player in my group, and yeah, I was pretty excited for this game because I knew that if I could beat him here, I would have a really big chance of winning the whole tournament. So yeah, let's see how the game went, and also some funny stories that I have to tell you throughout the game. So yeah, I had the black pieces. My opponent played c4, and already by move 1, I've never played against c4 in this journey, in a slow game, classical. And yeah, I saw that he played c4 on the first round. I was sitting next to him, so I kind of also prepared a bit for d4, c4, e4, and yeah, I decided to go for the reversed Sicilian. So c4, e5, knight c3, and here I go knight c6. So we have English opening, which it's pretty standard, the reverse Sicilian with e5. He goes g3, I go bishop c5, bishop g2, a6. Very important move, I think. I mean, you don't have to, but the engine just says d6, but d6 allows this option of you know my opponent going for my bishop, and I didn't want to let him do that, so I just played a6. He played e3, I played d6 now, and after knight g on e2, I played bishop a7, which looks kind of weird. But the idea with bishop a7 is, when my opponent plays d4, I can just take it, and I'm not gonna have to retreat my bishop. And yeah, he will not have tempo on my bishop. So like castles. And here, I had all of this was preparation. I had prepared this variation against the English, and here I knew the best move, but I didn't go for it. Here the best move, and the move that the masters play that are well prepared, is h5, which yeah, just looks crazy, but it is indeed a very good move because I'm just starting a kingside attack, but it's kind of risky because you know if you don't get an attack going, I mean, your king will start to be very vulnerable, and I don't know if you want to even castle queenside, because white's pawn storm can quickly start. And yeah, here the line that I studied was h3, and after h4, g4, f5, and here yeah, I mean, black can go g takes on f5, and bishop takes on f5, and you get this type of position, which, I mean, just looks crazy, just looks like a mess. And I didn't want to go for that, because even though I knew that I should go for it, I wasn't really trying to complicate the game that much. I wanted a more slow game. So here I went knight g on e7, and my opponent goes d4, takes, and here I just play h6. I should have probably castled, honestly, but I didn't want to give him the option of having bishop g5, so I play h6, just stopping bishop g5, which is fine. Here My opponent goes bishop e3 and I castle. And yeah, we have. I was pretty happy with this resulting position out of the opening. I had my pieces out, almost all of them. I still have to get my bishop on c8 out, but yeah, I like it. And here my opponent goes h3, stopping bishop g4, just like I did h6. He does h3, and here I go knight f5, attacking the bishop on e3. Here my opponent plays queen d2, and yeah, I kind of, before this move, I was kind of almost blitzing out everything, not like literally blitzing out. I was still thinking a bit, but I still had a lot of time on the clock, like 1 hour and 26 minutes, I want to say, and he had like 1 hour already. Just 1 hour, and yeah, after queen d2, I didn't really know what to do. I didn't know if what this was my whole idea, but when I had to decide, I think I was considering knight takes on e3 and rook e8. But yeah, I mean, here I just decided, okay, I went with my knight on f5 to take the bishop anyway, so I might as well do it and get the bishop pair. So that was my logic. But after my opponent just takes with the f pawn, f takes on e3, here I just get very mad at myself, because in my opinion, I just think that I did a huge mistake. I mean, like, I was literally paralyzed. It's the best way to put it. I thought that I was already much worse after taking the bishop on e3, which is not correct at all. I think the engine says that I'm completely fine. Like, white is slightly better, but nothing special, like 0.4. And yeah, here I just thought that I screwed up like really, really bad, because I just gave white a really nice and big center. I opened the f file for his rooks, and my knight on f5 was actually pretty active, and I traded it for like a bishop that was like just looking at pawns. So I was definitely very angry at myself for making that decision, but it wasn't that bad. But yeah, here I was thinking of something like queen g5, but then I saw like knight d5, and if I move let's say the queen here to put pressure on this knight, like then knight f4 comes, and like I looked at this, but I was like, no, this can't be good. Like, literally my queen is on h7, like what is this? So I didn't go for this. After like thinking for like probably 20 minutes, honestly, I had a lot of time advantage, but I lost it all. We just got the same time. But I managed to come up with a nice idea, and with the best move actually in the position. So here I just play knight e7. I realized that I just have to reroute my knight on c6, and probably start also putting some pawns in the center and challenging white's really strong center. So I go knight e7. My opponent goes king h2. I don't know if it was necessary, but I guess it's a nice prophylactic move, just putting the king in safety before pushing the pawns. And here I just play c6. As I said, I want to develop this bishop, and of course, if I just develop it before, white could just take on b7. So c6 is a nice move. And my opponent goes e4, and yeah, this is kind of crazy. Like, after e4, apparently e4 like is a big mistake. I was kind of thinking about e4, because it looks like it's very strong, just gaining more space, and putting pressure on my position. But apparently e4 is like loses all the advantage, the small advantage that white had, and also gives me a little bit. But the move that the engine says that makes black's position like better, it's b5. I mean, here honestly, like c takes b5, a takes b5, like, don't ask me why this is so good for black, because yeah, I don't even know why this is so good, so much better. But yeah, so let's move on. I just wanted to point that out. Maybe you guys can tell me in the comments why you think it's so good, but I don't understand b5 at all. I play knight g6 here, which I feel like it's natural, putting my knight on a nice square. Although, yeah, it's kind of, there's still some issues with my position, because I mean, here I thought that my opponent could just go h4 and try to push for h5, but here the engine still says like just push b5, or, but yeah, like the thing with h4 is that also gives me a square. So yeah, it's not as easy as it looks to play with the white pieces. So after knight g6, my opponent just brings the last piece into the game with rook ad1, very natural. And here I'll just play queen e7. So I also just wanna, you know, move my queen, move my bishop on c8, put a rook on d8, and just try to figure out something. Here my opponent goes knight f4, and I was kind of shocked to see knight f4, because I mean, okay, he's activating the knight, but like, I'm literally just gonna keep developing, and I don't really care for the knight on f4. But okay, I go bishop d7, also developing, and my opponent takes on g6, and I was very happy to see that, because after f takes on g6, and my opponent plays rook d2 e1. So here, I don't know, like I think like trading the knight on g6 was very bad from like a practical standpoint, because like I had less space than my opponent, and when you have less space you want to trade pieces. So my opponent, I think, should have probably rerouted this knight first somehow, or double the rooks on the f-file, something better to keep the pressure going. But yeah, he just traded a knight for me, and even though I get double pawns here, I'm not like concerned at all about these double pawns. Even gives me a nice shield on h7, so nice hideout for my king. But yeah, my opponent here plays rook d2 e1, and I just trade another pair of pieces, and I challenge the rook on f8, and yeah, my opponent trades. And yeah, we get to this position where in just a few moves, I feel like I love my position. I have the bishop pair, my queen is, like, I have the f-file as well. Honestly, I think just my king is safer than this king for sure. I mean, his center is still good, but it's hard to really figure out which pawn should you push, because even though this center is good, I mean, like, the pawns are very far forward, and it's kind of easy to they are an easy target. But yeah, after queen f8, my opponent plays d5, which is a very bad move. It's kind of hard to say what should you do in this position. Yeah, d5 is bad because it opens my bishop, which is gonna be very important. And yeah, white, by playing d5, is not really threatening much. I mean, if he takes on c6, I take back on c6, and I kind of, like, it helps me. And yeah, if he takes here, also, like, his pawn structure gets damaged. And yeah, d5 was not a good move. I think very hard position to play, honestly. The computer here recommends b4, but yeah, it's kind of hard to explain why. But yeah, my opponent goes d5 here anyways, and I play the best move, which is queen f6. Queen f6 is a very nice move, kind of threatening to infiltrate with the queen, with the same idea. And yeah, also, defending this pawn, even though it was defended on f8, but defending it, and also, threatening to maybe trade the queens and go to an endgame with the bishop pair. Here my opponent plays knight e2, and I just blitzed out queen f2, because this is so good. Just look at my position. Like, I'm completely dominating here, And yeah, it's kind of hard to suggest a move for white. Here my opponent played queen d1, and yeah, but I was looking at something like maybe like pawn takes on c6, and yeah, I was, do I take here, but then he takes here. Like I was like, if I take on c6, maybe he has queen d6, but I have queen e2, but then he has this and he's attacking my bishop as well, so I didn't like this. But I thought that if he took on c6, I could just take with the bishop, and yeah, he can't really take here because I take the knight, so yeah, that's not an option. So yeah, my opponent just plays queen d1, and here I play bishop e3. I don't know, bishop e3 is kind of, I don't know what to play here, honestly. I decided to play bishop e3. I don't know why, honestly. I think there's probably better moves than bishop e3, even though it's the third move in the engine. I guess bishop e3 kind of it prevents a knight f4, which, yeah, it was probably the idea. You know, I played this game quite a long time ago, so yeah, sorry for not remembering all the details instantly of my thought process. But yeah, after bishop e3, my opponent plays queen f1 and kind of forces the end game. And here I include d5. I don't take straight on f1, and I take on d5 first. I guess the idea with this was to kind of free up this bishop, but I don't know if it is really something that helps me. But yeah, my opponent takes the queen, I take his queen, and after he takes on d5, we get this position, this endgame, and here I play g5, kind of stopping his knight from coming to f4, and I was very confident going into this endgame because even though the material is equal, I have the bishop pair, and you guys all know how good the bishop pair is, especially in these types of endgames where there's pawns in both sides of the board. And yeah, I mean, my king can come to the game more easily than this king, although yeah, he moves his bishop like he will do in the game, and then he attacks my bishop. So yeah, after g5 he plays bishop e6, bishop e4, excuse me, nice move. I play king f7, very important. If I do another random move, let's say bishop e3, I think this like is very annoying to let him have the king, the bishop here, although the computer doesn't really care. But I was concerned about that, so I played king f7, activating my king. He plays king g2, I play bishop c5, and my opponent plays g4. I don't know why my opponent didn't go for a3 and b4 ideas, but yeah, it's really hard to say, like to actually recommend a move for white, because I mean, even though he can probably get this with tempo, meanwhile I will activate my king. So yeah, it's already a very unpleasant endgame for white for sure. He plays g4, and I play king f6. My opponent plays knight g3, and I just go king e5, and I just, I'm literally just dominating the position for sure. Here my opponent plays bishop f5, which kind of surprised me, and I was a little bit concerned because I don't really want to trade bishops because I want to keep my bishop pair, but I kind of have to trade bishops here, because if I don't trade bishops, let's say if I go bishop e8, I mean, he gets bishop c8, and this is not comfortable at all. Yeah, I'm just gonna have to lose the pawn, and I don't want that at all. So I just trade, and he takes with the knight on f5. And here, we still had a little bit of time on the clock. I would say we had probably like 15 minutes or 12 minutes, something like that. And yeah, here I just calculated g6 to see if I could play it. But yeah, of course, g6, the pawn on h6 is hanging, and I kind of have to see if he can actually take this without getting his knight trapped. And I calculated for like 4 minutes, 4 or 5 minutes, and yeah, I saw that after g6, my opponent can't take the pawn on h6. He has to go back to he has to either play knight g7 or go back, something like that, and I'll be able to infiltrate the position. So I thought, right? That was my thought process. But like after probably like 1 minute thinking, my opponent just takes on h6, and I was like, oh my god. I was like, I can't believe it. I just won the game. I was so excited. I was like, oh my god, what? No, this is not possible. You can't take the pawn on h6. I was sure that I calculated correctly. And I was right. Here, I play king on f6, and just, I have to tell you guys the story of the match here. And after king f6, I realized that I was completely winning. And if you saw the thumbnail of the video, I had my Naruto shirt, I had my watch. I had a watch. I don't really like watches, to be honest. Like it feels uncomfortable for me. I'm not used to it, and I don't really like it, like fashion wise or stuff like that. It's just something that doesn't really, I don't really like. But I did it on that day because my ex-girlfriend gave me that watch for my birthday, and so just to to be nice and to show that I appreciated her gift, I just decided to wear it for good luck and stuff like that. So yeah, I just started putting on my watch, because I took it off middle of the game. As I said, it's kind of uncomfortable for me. I put on my jacket, I go sip some water, I just feel really relaxed. I just get really relaxed, really confident. And I'm not this, like, this is kind of disrespectful, to be honest. And I'm not that type of person to disrespect my opponent. I don't like it. But honestly, I'm gonna tell you guys why I did this. So yeah, guys, I did that because there's this game in the journey to National Master. In one of the episodes, it's episode 11 if you want to check that out. So yeah, guys, I did that this disrespectful behavior because of a story that I'm gonna tell you guys. So there was a game in this journey to National Master which is on the channel. It was game 11 if you guys want to check that out. I was playing on the last round of a tournament against an 1800 and something, 1850 or something like that player, so very strong player. And it was just a very, very tense, very nerve-wracking game. It was like a 90 move game almost, I think, or maybe more. I don't even remember. There was a lot of moves. And it was like insane. So many sacrifices, and I went from being like my opponent having mate in like 20 moves or something like that for me to actually be able to bring the game back to a draw. But I think I had like 30 seconds on the clock. It was a knight versus rook in game. I had the knight, and it was like the last game of the whole tournament. Like everyone was watching. I was very tired. We had been playing for 4 hours. It was like a 4 hour and some minutes game. So I was very tired, and in the end, like I had 30 seconds. My opponent was like threatening mate in 1. I didn't see it immediately. I had 30 seconds. I didn't see it immediately that was threatening mate in 1, which was very obvious, but I was so tired. And like literally with 1 second on the clock, I move my king, but I move it to the wrong square, and then I end up losing the game because I end up losing the knight and stuff like that. And I was very, very sad. Yeah, because at the time I didn't beat or had like a draw against such a strong player, so it would have been my first time drawing against such an higher rated opponent. And yeah, I was very sad. And the guy, bro, and this guy that I'm playing right now, that I'm showing in the video, Carlos Loureiro, dude, he just said to me like, oh, but why didn't you repeat the position? That was like so obvious. And I was like, bruh, I had literally 30 seconds on the clock. I've been playing for 4 hours. I literally didn't say that, but I was like, oh my god, I was like super. I just said like I was super tired, man. Come on. And he was like, oh, but it was so obvious. And I was like so pissed for him, of him saying that. And like, this is very petty, bro. This is very petty, but I'm a petty person. I can be a petty person, and I don't forget those type of things. So yeah, I'm very petty when it comes to that. And I remember like who he was. And yeah, now that I was playing against him, I was being disrespectful, because I also felt that he was very disrespectful for telling me that right after I just lost the last game of the tournament, which I think it would have, if I drew that game, I would probably end up in the top 3 or something like that, and I would be very happy because I would have won like a lot of points and stuff like that. But I was very pissed at this guy, and I had my revenge this game. So I remembered, and yeah, that's very petty, but yeah, I did that. So I was acting disrespectful because of that. And yeah, I mean, it is what it is, man. I mean, it is what it is. So okay, let's go back to the game. My opponent didn't resign, by the way. He kept on playing. So my opponent here, after thinking for like 7 or 8 minutes and almost spending all his time to try to find a way to to get his knight back and to save himself, he plays h4. But yeah, I already had calculated that king g7, I can just let him take this pawn here. And after bishop e3, there's literally no way for him to stop me from picking up g5 and also just picking up the knight. So yeah, very important detail. Here my opponent just sacrifices the knight. And yeah, after I take the knight, we get this position, and it was just a matter of conversion. I'm not gonna waste you guys' time with this. He took a long time to resign, as you can see, and finally here he resigned, and I was so happy. I remember that I was so happy, and I was like celebrating after. No, I wasn't celebrating while he was there. I celebrated after, when I went home. But yeah, this was the match, and I was 3 out of 3, and I was feeling like just insane. I was feeling like I was just gonna win the tournament because I just beat the number 1 seed of my group. So I was like, I'm gonna get this trophy, I'm gonna get this this tournament first place. And yeah, I was very happy. So hope you guys enjoyed this very long video and this game. I think it was pretty interesting, and also I hope you guys like the new mic quality. And yeah, thank you for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.